We find ourselves today in Perek Vav, Mishna is Tes through Yud, chapter 6, Mishna is 9 through 10. The Mishnah says as follows: Sa'at tvu akura o sa'a she'ena akura. So you have the following situation. We learned before that halacha l'maisa, if you go out and you have a bundle that is 2 sa'a, then halacha l'maisa, that is not shechecha. What happens in the following situation? You have a sa'ah of grain that is attached and is to the ground, and a sa'ah of grain that is detached. Now both of them have been forgotten. They've both been forgotten. The shaila is, do they combine to form 2 sa'ah of grain that has been forgotten? But remember again, once you reach the threshold of 2 sa'ah, it's no longer shechecha. V'chein be'ilan. What happens on a tree? Let's say you have 1 sa'ah of produce that has been picked from the tree and forgotten, and 1 sa'ah that has been forgotten on the tree itself. Or v'hashum v'habitzalim. Or for that matter, again, onions and garlic. Same case. You have 1 sa'ah that's been picked and forgotten, and 1 sa'ah that's been left attached to the ground and forgotten. What's the halacha? Eino mitzarfa l'sasayim. These 2 individual sa'ahs, one of them again which is attached to the ground and one of them which has already been picked, both have been forgotten, but one is attached and one has been picked already, do not combine to form 2 sa'ah to exclude them from shechecha. Rather, elahim shalaniyim. Rather, they are treated like aniyim, i.e., they are considered to be shechecha. Rabbi Yossi says no. In basar shasani be'emsa einu mitzdarfin. So Rabbi Yossi says something very interesting. Rabbi Yossi says that halacha l'maisa, if, let's say, for example, there's another portion that belongs to the ani that comes in between these 2 items. For example, let's say the Bartanura says there's leket. So imagine for a moment there's a little bit of leket in between the sa'ah of grain that has been harvested and forgotten and the sa'ah of grain that's standing and been forgotten. And in the middle of that, you have some leket. Ultimately, again, enon mitzdarfen, then they do not combine to form 2 sa'ah, and ultimately, again, they are shechecha ve'im lav. But if halacha l'maisa, again, there's no other matno saniyim, no other right parts for the poor, ties for the poor in between them, then ultimately, again, they do combine to form 2 sa'ah. So very interesting halacha. So if essentially there's leket in between them, then halacha l'maisa, that prevents them from combining, and therefore again they don't combine to 2 sa'ah, and therefore they're shechecha. If, however, again, there's no leket in between them, then halacha l'maisa, they go out and they combine. Beautiful. Mishna Yud. So here's the situation. Let's say you have grain, and the grain has been set aside not for animal food, o la'aluma, or halacha l'maisa, again, you're going to use that grain to tie around other bundles of grain. V'chein ba'agei hashum. Right, or if you have sprouts, or called sprouts of garlic, that ultimately again are used, or like pieces of garlic that are used to bind other bundles of garlic, va'agudos hashum v'habatzalim, or ultimately again smaller bundles of garlic and onions that are waiting to be combined with other larger bundles. Ein lohem shechecha. In all of these cases, they are not considered to be shechecha. And the reason for this is because at halacha l'maisa, the Bartanura explains that by the grain, shechecha is only by something that's going to be eaten by people. But since the grain is going to be eaten by animals, ultimately, again, it's not subject to shechecha. And ultimately, again, the only time for the onions and the garlic, the only time you're subject to the laws of shechecha is if you are a final stage. But because these items are not yet final stage produce, then halacha l'maisa, again, it's not subject to shechecha. V'chalatmunim ba'aretz gegon haluf v'hashum v'habitzalim. Now, an interesting part over here, any vegetables you have where the edible part of the plant is hidden in the ground. In other words, it's inside of the ground, like luf. So luf is a type of onion, garlic, or regular onions. Rabbi Yehuda omer ilan shechecha. Rabbi Yehuda says that halacha l'maisa, they're not subject to shechecha. The Chacham say on the other hand, no, they are subject to shechecha. So an interesting case, because since in this situation the edible part is hidden in the ground, so shaila as to whether or not it's subject to shechecha. Machlokes, Rabbi Yehuda, and the Chachamim. We'll stop over here for today. In Meretz Hashem, we will complete the last Mishnah in Perek Vav and begin Perek Zayin tomorrow. Shkoyach, and have a wonderful day.